All right, filmmakers, buckle up because today we're diving into one of the most creative, emotionally sound wedding films I've ever seen. This film is from Beka, who many of you know as one of Multiply Sound's top affiliates and reps, and honestly, she's operating on expert mode. Her latest wedding film is this 10-minute masterpiece, and she's using one licensed song, the rest 100% tonal sound effects. For the first 6 minutes, there's zero licensed music at all. She built it all from scratch. She gave her couple 3 moments of musical callbacks that hit way deeper than just throwing a random song underneath. It's these little emotional details, these musical callbacks that separate good editors from great ones and completely captivates her audience. So whether you're a wedding filmmaker or just a storyteller who cares about emotion, pay attention to this one. This is a masterclass on how to use tonal sound to make people feel something real. Let's dive in.
Off the bat, she walked down the aisle to a song from the Pride and Prejudice movie from 2005.
Okay.
And they love that movie, and so I knew those songs were really important to them. So I actually went to the piano and I figured out how both of those songs sounded and what notes kind of went into each of those songs. And one of them was in a different key, so I transposed them both into the same key.
Okay.
And so then I kind of built out this thing that became a little insane.
My God.
I think there's 60.
These are all tonal sound effects
There's 60 individual tonal sound effects in total, I'm pretty sure.
Within a 45 minutes span.
Yeah, 45 seconds.
Span.
45 seconds. And yeah,
Jeez.
it's
all right,
gotten
let's
a
hear
little
this.
insane.
Let's hear this.
So let's start it up.
Dude, what? Dude, you're...
And then here we go again.
This is wild.
And one more time, ready?
How long did that take you?
Honestly, like maybe an hour or two.
So you're saying that the couple walked down to a Pride and Prejudice song, right?
Yeah.
And as a filmmaker, you took note of that.
Yeah.
And you thought, I should try to work this song or this melody into the introduction of this wedding film.
Yeah. Well, because even if it's not the full song, which like this almost turned out to be, even if it was just a couple notes, it like triggers that memory and that connection that they have to that song, you know? And so that's my initial goal, honestly, was to just have it be just really this. I was going to actually originally just have this. You know, and like that would be enough actually to like trigger that memory. They would recognize that immediately. But being able to pull on the extra levels just made it feel more complete.
Okay. So you talk about triggering a memory. Like, tell me about that. Why is that important?
I just think that, especially for a song where you're walking down the aisle, and it's going to trigger the feelings that were happening in that moment because they remember the song. It's going to trigger all the memories that have happened in like their relationship to that soundtrack if they've been listening to it through their life. And so there's just a lot of power in the memories that come up in music, and so to be able to actually, even with just a handful of notes, trigger those memories in the midst of watching something else, it makes that moment that much more powerful.
Yeah. So yeah, what Becca is talking about is something really important that here at Multiply Sound we really take value of. She's talking about implicit memory, emotional based memory that is connected to the hippocampus back in the brain, and it's connected to the feeling of what you felt in those moments. And so it's said that our memory is way more connected to what we hear and what we touch and what we smell instead of our sight. And so she's using the power of music to reconnect that love back together. And I'm sure the couple just lost their shit.
And they notice immediately. And anyone that I've shown this to that knows the Pride and Prejudice, they like immediately are like, I know that song.
Damn.
So that I think was really huge. They were thrilled with that. The second example, for their first dance song, they had the I love you always, forever, near and far.
Okay.
I love you always, forever, near and far.
There's something about also like notes will then trigger lyrics and thoughts. So during the first dance, I went through and I figured out the song. So basically, we did another one.
It's so crazy.
Right? So,
hell yeah.
And
Okay.
it kind of like, it sounds a little off, but I was trying to get it the closest. They're singing the song to each other. So I wanted that to be something that they could, it plays around here.
I love you always, forever, near and far, closer together every day. I will for you everything. I will for you say you love me forever, never stop.
That's crazy. Okay, so you mic'd them during their first dance.
Yeah.
You
So
found the key of what they're singing in.
Yeah.
What the song was.
Yeah. And then I went again to the piano and figured out what the notes were and built it out. And then the reason it kind of ends like this is it's actually like a continuation of the song. They say never stop, and the rest of the song goes da 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 da. And I kind of just slowed it down because we were like transitioning out of that moment in, but like
Gotcha.
with the notes that would have been there.
Cool.
You know, and so it's a smoother way to like transition also just by actually incorporating part of the song
This is crazy.
into your next scene.
This
you know?
is crazy.
But then also with that song, because they go, I love you always, forever, and you know it's a da 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 da, and those combination of notes make the brain go, I love you always, forever. It's going to trigger those lyrics, right? And so the best man speech was really sweet, and he didn't say I love you, I think, or something like that, but I almost wanted him to. And so I kind of made him say it by having the notes come up.
Of my life, and I truly thank you for it.
You gained a special place.
Wow.
You know, and so being able, having a little nod to their first dance song,
Yeah.
and also being able to
And this is before their first dance.
This is before their first dance song.
Okay, all right.
And so
it's almost like teasing what's coming.
Yeah.
Not through visuals, but through music.
yeah,
so to say.
teasing was coming, and then also just like getting lyrics in someone's brain with music without having. So like ideally, they heard him say "I love you always, forever," even though he didn't. In this particular part of his speech.
It's insane. She's taking notice, okay, of what she's hearing during a wedding. And it doesn't have to be just for weddings. This could be for your clients, for a brand that you're working for. Take notice. Like, what are you noticing during the event or whatever you're capturing? What type of music is being played? What are they saying? Everyone has music tastes that are connected to something way more important. That is the power of music. And she's recognizing, oh my gosh, this first dance song is really important to them. They're singing along to it while they're even dancing. Let me play that out as they're dancing and have a nod to that dance throughout the film too.
What I like about what you've given people is like you've given them the freedom to play piano even if they don't own a piano, even if they don't have it, right? You've given them ability to actually create these music in this way.
Do you play piano?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. What would you say to the person that's like, I don't play piano, like I can't do this. It seems super hard.
Yeah, I would say like I understand that it feels overwhelming, and I think if you also don't have any kind of musical background, that it can feel daunting. I think that in the videography space in general, people are, you know, you're learning so much about your camera, you're learning so much about your editing software. Learn something about music. Like, I think it actually should be expected, to be honest. If you think about how complicated your video editing software is, you learned how to do that though. Right? Think about how complicated shooting on your camera can be. You learned how to do that though. Right? You probably learned how to balance a freaking gimbal. You know, if you learned how to balance a gimbal, you can learn how to play like a scale. I don't know. I think the videographer should be held to a higher standard of expectation of actually having background knowledge. And so if anything, I think what I would say is like, it's a challenge to you to actually learn something about music and feel like that's actually an expectation of you as a videographer, because I think it should be.
It's good.
Like there's a piano, what's it called? What's that digital piano thing called on Safari? If you just type in piano,
Like
on
virtual
Safari-
piano.
Virtual piano.
Yeah.
I actually do a lot of this just on virtual piano. I'll
Yeah.
just go on that and I'll figure out what notes there are. You just can do it by like, I just click around until I find the first note and then I base it off of that. You can just go and, you know, figure it out.
It's a muscle that you have to train.
Yeah.
You know, you've trained your eyes
Yeah.
really well. You've trained them to balance your aperture and shutter, and you've trained them to color grade. You've trained them to capture cool angles and foreground and all this stuff. You can train your ears
Yeah.
too. Like your ears can be trained to understand melodies.
Yeah. It looks really complicated. It's not as complicated as it looks once you start to get the handle of it. But I think an elementary understanding of music should be expected from filmmakers. So for the third example, I'm going to show you kind of what he said and then what inspired the idea that I did next.
Favorite interest of ours is Lord of the Rings. In Lord of the Rings, there's a character named Galadriel, for those who don't know, and she's considered the most beautiful and powerful elf in Middle-earth. Her beauty is described as being both captivating and awe-inspiring. But compared to you, she is nothing but a lone candle in the dark, while you are the brilliant glow of the sun, dwarfing all other sources of light.
So because he said
Okay.
something like that, I was
Okay.
like, oh my gosh, like that's a really beautiful thing to say. Like
Yep.
how can I elevate that? How can I make that deeper and richer?
Again, Beka taking notice of what's being said and thinking about how can she portray that in music, not just visually.
Yeah, I'm also really obsessed with John Williams is famous for doing this and making theme songs for every character, no matter how small. And so I've loved the idea actually of one day composing theme songs basically for my bride and groom, especially.
Jeez.
That then kind of anyway. So this is kind of the start of that where I was
Okay.
like, Galadriel has a theme song.
Okay.
Let's find that theme song and make it and then add it into the video. So I
Okay.
did that. And again, this is not as crazy.
Can we hear the Galadriel theme
The original
song?
theme song, yeah. So those are the notes that I chose to focus
Okay.
on, like for
All right, let's hear
the
it.
theme song.
Let's hear
so
it.
we did this. I had to transpose it
You had
because
to
it was
transpose
like
it,
it was
yeah.
like in a minor something or whatever,
Right,
and I
right.
had to change it to work in the key. But that's why it sounds a little different. But again, if
Okay.
they're so familiar with Lord of the Rings, they should notice this right away, even though
Yep,
it's in a different
yep,
key. That
yep.
combination. Of
Did
notes.
they?
Yeah, they did. They were
That's sick.
so psyched.
Galadriel, for those who don't know. Rings is a character named Galadriel, for those who don't know, and she's considered the most beautiful and powerful elf in Middle-earth. Her beauty is described as being both captivating and awe-inspiring. But compared to you, she is nothing but a lone candle in the dark.
Okay, so because then he said, like, compared to you, I then needed to make her version of Galadriel's theme song better and like brighter and
Bro.
more beautiful, right?
Dude, this is
For the metaphor to be as powerful as it can be. So I'll show you that. So we basically just did like I think is that third? Wait, what is that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We just did the harmony note basically,
Okay.
of like the brighter harmony,
Which is
the
higher.
lighter,
A
higher
harmony is like you have the melody and it's higher.
yeah. So we go.
That's crazy.
And so now when we go into her harmony, her
Okay,
section,
okay. So the groom is comparing his bride to this Lord of the Rings character.
Yeah.
You play that character's theme song, and then he says, "But your beauty is so much greater and
Yeah.
brighter."
Yeah.
And you literally go above and beyond and do the melody of the same theme song except brighter.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Come on.
Okay, let's hear it.
The theme song.
In Lord of the Rings, there's a character named Galadriel, for those who don't know, and she's considered the most beautiful and powerful elf in Middle-earth. Her beauty is described as being both captivating and awe-inspiring. But compared to you, she is nothing but a lone candle in the dark, while you are the brilliant glow of the sun, dwarfing all other sources of light. Galadriel is a fictional character, but you are real, and I am so lucky to be.
Let's go. What would you say to the person that's like, that's a waste of time, clients are not gonna notice? What would you say to that person?
You're wrong.
Okay.
I think there are probably clients out there that won't care about that, and like if you don't care about it, then whatever. You're gonna attract clients that maybe don't care about that. But if you want clients to care about that, you will attract clients that care about that. If you're caring about that, the more I've talked about the music stuff that I do and how passionate I am about it, the more I actually have had musical clients come to me, or people that actually just like see the value in that be coming to me, and they notice right away.
Yeah,
they absolutely do. And even if they don't know that it's not a licensed song, if you're invoking a powerful emotion in someone with the music that you're choosing, I just think that that's powerful in itself. You are choosing to do that. You're not having someone else choose to do that. Like, you know, like if you go to a licensed software and you're like, oh, that song's powerful, great, and you use it, you're just using someone else's created musical power and not your own created musical power. And I think that's what like tonal sound effects let you do. Being like, it gives you that power back, and using them connecting them to each other is also really important. Like having licensed music is still such an important way that we create films and that kind of thing.
I think too, because I experienced this too when I was doing wedding filmmaking, is there's not only empowering yourself, empowering the couple for them to remember for the rest of their lives that our memory is connected to our emotional, something that's emotional through music, but also like monetarily. I was charging so much. I am really not the best videographer, filmmaker out there. People had way better visuals than me, people had better coloring, people had better storytelling, but man, people could not beat me at my obsession over music, and that reflected from climbing up the ladder of the people around me, my competition around me, and I was able to charge so much more because of my intention to music. The clients that love and pay attention and find value in music will find you. Damn. Okay. Well, you heard her. If you are ready to dive into the world of tonal sound effects, I have the link in the description. We're running a discount code right now. Use Beka's link, use Beka's discount code for the Film Score collections, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.